Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and in today's video it's something really exciting because something recently just happened. So Anastasia Beverly Hills recently invited me to a virtual event, and it was so exciting because it was my first virtual event for the year. And I could not believe it because it was actually a session with the president of Anastasia Beverly Hills, Claudia, best known as Norvina. And guys, can I just say that I was just so excited that I could not sleep the night before. And even on the day itself, I drank coffee and it was the worst idea ever because my heart was just like... And we also had a session with a pro artist from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Her name is Patti Peaches. And we actually got a lot of tips on their products, especially their newly launched lip liners and matte and satin lipsticks. So I thought, why not give you guys the low of what happened? When I first started getting into makeup like years ago, these were the kind of moments that I could only dream of experiencing. And I remember at one point just envisioning what it would be like to be able to meet the founders of beauty brands, you know, being able to see their creative process and get to know about it, how they think about their products and what goes into their mind when they are, I don't know, like inspired to create certain products. And like I said, I could only manifest and envision all these like years ago, and to be able to do it now, it's incredible. Honestly, it's such a pinch me moment because if you were to tell my 21-year-old self that this was something that was gonna happen in the years to come, I'd tell you shut up. I would think you'd be kidding. And all I can say is, guys, envisioning, manifesting, it works. Honestly, just being in the same chat room with Norvina itself, just the thought of it. I was in the same chat as Norvina. That's all I needed. My 2022 is made. But anyway, I also know that there are some of you out there who are dreamers as well, who always wonder what goes behind these virtual classes and what we learn and what we talk about. So I thought, what better way to give back than to let you guys in on the lowdown. And just to give you guys kind of like context, this was actually for the newly launched lip liners and also the matte and satin lipsticks. But they did mention a couple of their new face products that launched last year, like sometime from summer onwards, which I've already covered on my channel. So I'll try to link the cards here. So you know what? Let's get to it. So I already have my brows and my eyes done because we're actually going to be focusing on the face and the lips. And the first step was actually the face, and we're going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Magic Touch Concealer. I love this concealer. I use it for my under eyes like every single time I need to conceal. It's surprising to me because normally I don't really like reaching for full coverage concealers, but I find myself using this like every other day now. I don't really reach for anything else, which is saying a lot. So the first step Patti did was actually use this on the face. So I'm going to be using the shade number 10. I don't know if this matches me anymore, to be very honest. I'm just going to be scraping off some of the product on the opening. She said anywhere with like redness and coverage that you'd want. So I have a little bit of acne right here and a little bit of redness here and around my nose from a lot of like mask wearing recently. So I'm just gonna like work with a portion of my face first. So this is what she did. And she used a brush. She used their A30 brush. Unfortunately, I don't have that brush, so I'm gonna use this one. It is very different. Theirs is basically more rounded, but it is very compact. So I'm just gonna use this. And what she did was she just used this and stippled it to work the product in. I already have my face moisturized so that it's easier to spread. Okay, so look at how easy this is blending out, especially when your face is like really nicely moisturized. And all you gotta do is just pat it in and then drag it out a little bit towards your chin and also the forehead. Personally, for me, my forehead doesn't need a lot of coverage, so I don't really concentrate base products on there, in particular foundation. Personally, I would definitely do one side first, just so like, you know, your product is easier to blend out, because sometimes, you know, if you're a bit too slow, Look at that. Like, it's just blending out so easily. And I'm just dragging it down on the chin, working around my nose, get a little bit on my jaw, and then just bringing it up to the forehead, especially the middle here. Like, getting a bit of redness here. All right. To be honest, this is really surprising me because I've mentioned it before. I don't really like using a brush with this concealer under my eyes, but honestly, as a base, this blends out and worked out really nicely. So I'm pleasantly surprised, and I think I might actually use this more often now. Huh. Very surprising. Pleasantly surprised. So the next step is your under eye, and you're gonna go like 2 shades lighter, but you don't wanna go too light so it doesn't look too ashy. I'm gonna be using my regular, which is number 8. And what she did was she just did 1 dollop like right here, like that. She then used their A26 brush, which is like a fluffy brush to basically blend this out under the eye. However, I don't have that brush, but I saw it in the video and it was kind of like a fluffy eye brush. So I'm just gonna use this brush that I have and blend it out. Can I just say I'm pleasantly surprised by this, because like I said, I don't like using a brush to blend this out, but I'm starting to think it's because my brush has been pretty dense and my skin was pretty dry. So I have been using like a really dense concealer brush like this to blend it out, and haven't had the greatest of experience. So I always use a wet sponge and I find it to look like absolutely magical. So this honestly really surprises me. I might do this more often. Other side. And then after that, you're gonna go in with another concealer that is lighter than your under eye, and we're gonna place it right over here on top of the cheekbone. So what Patti mentioned was actually this is supposed to help highlight and lift the face. So I'm going in with the number 5. This is totally brand new. Okay, and she said right on top of the cheekbone, but like almost under the eye. So I would say somewhere around here. I'm just gonna put like a dot like that. So it's a very precise highlight. And then she said going in with the same brush, again, she used the A26. You're just gonna brush it upwards like that. Her makeup was so bomb, like her eyeshadow, that when she did this, it almost looked as though like her eyeshadow just went sharper and lifted, and I was like, wow, I do see like a dimensional kind of like difference. Does it look lifted? Okay, and then we're gonna do this side. So just a dot here, like that, and just lift. We're going back to that big brush. They used the A30 brush, and we're just gonna tap right here to blend everything in, just to make sure it's really seamless. So Patti actually mentioned that you can use your fingers. However, I just feel like it's not really for me. I feel like it's too messy and it just doesn't look as seamless as I would like. Based on the techniques that I learned today, honestly, the brush looks pretty dope. I still prefer a sponge, but I would consider. She did also mention that you don't have to set the concealer because, I mean, you want that like dewy look. However, for me, I feel like because my eyes are, I don't know, it's weird. She basically said that because she has dry eyes, she doesn't like to set it. But I find that because my under eyes are so dry, it gets a little creasy, so I feel like the need to set it. So it's really up to you, but for the sake of the video today, I'm not gonna set it just to see how it works out. The next step, cream bronzer. They actually sent me a new shade. It is caramel, and I think this is more up my tone because the previous shade amber was just a bit too light for me, so I wasn't really gravitating to it a lot. Patti also went back in with the A30 brush that they have, but I think I'm gonna go with a smaller one. I'm gonna use my Fenty one. Again, it was kind of just like a rounded flat brush that I don't really have, so I'm just gonna use this. She just went in straight into the pan. Load up your brush. And then what she did was she basically pat off some excess, whoa, on her hand. Look at that pigment. So that, I mean, I'm glad that I did that because this is actually so that you have more control. What she did was where your cheekbone is, like the indent, she just stippled it on there. And then you want to end it, like when you look straight, you want it to end somewhere around here so that it lifts the face. So this is the mark that I would end it at, right? And then just build it up. And then I'm just gonna pick up more product on my hand to not waste, and then go on the forehead to bronze. And then she said to go down your chin. She just dragged it like this, honestly. She just did that. She said something really important, which was to make sure you get some in front of your ear and at the back of your ear. So this is supposed to prevent racing stripes, so you don't really tell where your bronzer kind of ends, or starts rather. Other side. And we're bronzed. Now on to the next part, blush. And it is one of my favorite products right now. It is their cream blush. Peaches actually used 2 shades, and funny enough, out of the 5 shades, she used 2 of them that I did not have, which is Peachy Keen and Peach Caramel, if I'm not mistaken. But today I'm gonna be using 2 shades that's really suitable as well to me. It's Soft Rose. This is like my everyday blush now. I have been using it every single time ever since I got it. And they just sent me a new shade for the event, which is Pink Dahlia. This is also a really nice pinky tone. So I'm gonna use both of them the way that she did it. First, she went in with the deeper shade and she used Peach Caramel. So I'm gonna use my Soft Rose. And what she did was essentially, you need to find where your cheekbone is, right? So right at that hollow, you want to go in straight with the blush right on top of that hollow, like right there. It's right on the top part of the hollowness, right at the bottom of your cheekbone. Now I mentioned in the previous video that I did on the cream blushes, if you haven't already watched it, go and watch it, that I don't like the brush because it just moves everything. But I think it's also because I had the wrong concept of like swirling it or like being really aggressive. But what she did was actually just lightly stipple it like that. Like she really just stamped it on. So I'm just gonna see if I like it. I mean, it's blending out. It's blending. Okay. So that blended out really nicely. But I'm not gonna lie, the process was kind of painful because I'm like aggressive. And like I could just feel it. I still prefer a sponge though. On to the next shade. This is going to be the lighter shade I'm using, again, Pink Dahlia. And she used this at the apples of her cheeks, like right here. And she just did that. Don't know if that's a bit too much. If I were to do this, you can see how my cheekbone ends right there. And that's the line that you don't want to cross. So I'm just putting it right at the apples and I'm gonna move it like upwards. So I'm just gonna concentrate it here, stipple it upwards. Ooh, that's a lot of blush. Dang it. If you need help with guidance, I normally do this just so that I know that I'm not going past that line. So as you can see that I put quite a bit. So what she suggested is if you put too much, there are two things that you can do. One is bring it up to the nose area so you kind of look like you have that sunburn tint. So what you can do is just bring it here a little bit and then do your nose over here. I'm not gonna do that. Sometimes when you put too much blush and it kind of like blends into your concealer a little bit, this is the trick that she did. So basically she went back with the base brush, which was the A30. I'm gonna go back with this one. And what she did was basically use it because you still have a little bit of product on it and you're gonna blend it out, which is the whole reason why I didn't want to use it in the first place to do my bronzer. Just in case this were to happen, I still have that brush with my product on it, like all the concealers that I can use to just like pat this in. If I were to use it with the bronzer, it would have been like game over. I would still need to use another brush anyway. But can you see how that just like eats away and like blends everything a little bit more seamlessly? Right? So it's not too blush-like. It still looks really glowy. And you're layering like really nicely. Now moving on to one of my favorite parts, lips, like lip liner. So I have 6 with me, and conveniently enough, I had the combo that she was using, which was a beautiful combo. Can I just say it's one of my favorite combos right now? It was a beautiful red lip, and it is using the liner in Cherry. I've used this like quite a bit and it's not as sharp anymore. So what you want to do is make sure it is sharpened. Ta-da! So now it's all sharp. First things first, you want to analyze your lips and understand what shape it is. So what you want to do is first, just be stoic. And as you guys can see, my lips, well, when I'm stoic, it's like downturned. Like it just looks like I'm constantly sad. And we don't want that, okay? Because I don't want to always look sad. I want to look happy. So because of that, the trick that she actually gave is if you have too much of a downturned lip and you want to bring it up, it's actually about filling up your upper lip more and then concentrating on the lower lip being more centered. Lucky for me, Peaches actually had the same problem, so I'm just gonna follow what she did. But if you have the opposite problem, you can just do it the opposite way. First, we're gonna do the upper lip, and you wanna line your Cupid's bow first. Now my lips are quite thin, so I like to overline them a little bit. So starting with the Cupid's bow. Do you see how creamy that is? Or rather like how pigmented and fast that was. Kind of looks like I have a little bit of a stash right now. But the next step is actually filling it in from the corner and then connecting it into the middle. So this is the brilliant tip that I got because I realized that this was my mistake, is that you actually want to start from the corner and then bring it up. So what happens when you do that is that your hand naturally wants to draw like a curve, and because of that it gives that fullness at the side, which kind of gives the fullness to your upper lip. The thing is, I always did this like downwards, and because of that your hand naturally wants to give that like curve in that makes it downturn even more. So if you have too much of like, if you have really full lips and you want to like downsize it a little bit, then that's the technique you should do, from inside, like from the middle to the corner. But because I want more plump lips, we're gonna start from the outer corner like this and draw upwards. Can you see? Like it's just that natural movement of the hand to go inwards. And the same from the other side. Like, can you see? My lip already does not look so downturned. You want to go from the corner upwards. Now for the lower lip, you want to just start with the center. Now my lower lip is just like slightly uneven. So what I like to do is I actually like to overline the bottom a bit more so it's a bit more pouty. And this time, because I want to remove a little bit, I actually want to draw it this way in because the curve is going to come naturally at the bottom here and not outwards. If you want a fuller bottom lip, you would go from the center outwards because then you have that natural curve towards the end. So I'm just gonna start from the corners and go inwards like that. Can you see like my lips isn't so downturned anymore? It's just a bit more full. And then what we're gonna do next is actually use the side of the lip liner to sculpt. So you just wanna go from the corners inwards. A little bit at the top and then corners inwards. Okay, so then she went in with the shade American Doll. I mean, American Doll was actually originally from the liquid lipstick line and they actually made it into a matte lipstick. It is this beautiful bright red and we're just gonna put this all over the lips. So this, we are just gonna work from the center out. Look at how nicely that blends. Ta-da! That was the lips and the end of the look. I think I actually really like it. Like, I mean, my skin looks really dope. I love how pouty my lips look. It kind of gets me out of that like nude lipstick phase. That was the look that we learned and I thought that I'd give you a little bit of a lowdown of what they mentioned about the products. So the thing about the matte lipsticks like American Doll is actually, Norvina actually curated it in such a way that she wanted it to be like a matte finish, but it doesn't feel like a matte. And I kind of agree because ever since I've been wearing this, I love how creamy this matte is. It's not like that liquid lipstick phase where everything was actually so drying and we were just faking it to ourselves like, oh, this isn't that drying. Guys, it was hella drying, okay? The satin lipsticks were supposed to be like kind of like a sheer, comfortable, like juicy, pretty lip. It's not supposed to be like as juicy or like a gloss, you know, like that total gloss one, but it's just supposed to give, oh, but honestly, I think these are like so creamy. Look at that. Okay, that wasn't a good swatch, but I mean, look at this. It's like full on pigment and at least for us in the Asian country, we're like, this is full on pigment, man, Norvina, what are you talking about? But you know, in the US and in a lot of European countries, everyone's all about like pigment, look at how pigmented it is. And it is, but it just gives you that like sheerness where you can build it up. And I think this is something that I actually really like. It's super comfortable. And the thing about their lip, all of their lip products, all three, the matte satin and the lip liners that I actually really enjoy is that it doesn't feel like you're wearing anything on your lips. For a very long time, we've been into like glossy lips right now where you can really feel it. Before that, we had like all of the liquid lipstick trends and stuff like that years ago, and you always feel it on your lips. But this time with these formulas, they're so comfortable that sometimes I actually forget until I start like drinking something and you see it on your cup. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm wearing lipstick today, even though I'm at home. Like I completely forgot. I've been super excited for lip liners. If you haven't watched my video on the lip liners, go and watch it. But I do mention a couple of things in there. So I love lip liners and she actually wanted to do like a traditional artist lip liner, which is the pencil, the wooden pencil. She doesn't like mechanical because, you know, it's always like that dome shape. You can't get it really sharp. And this is so that you can get really precise application, which is really nice. It's easy to use. And even though it is in a abnormal square shape, it's not common, like everyone always uses round ones. She says she was inspired because she's always in the studio and it's so hard for videography and photography because it keeps rolling off the table, but this one is like, it just stays put, and it's great for people like me because it's not gonna roll off the table and you don't have to worry about it. So this has been excellent, like really, really good. Totally recommend. And I think that's brilliant how she just did one small change and it made a world of a difference. Oh yeah, and another thing about the square that I thought was really smart was beyond all of that, she said it stands out. Like if you were the type of person who had a million and what lip liners just like in a jar like that, you would see the square and be like, that's my Anastasia one. And you're not gonna have that with any other brand. Alright guys, so that is the end of the video, and I hope you guys learned a little bit of what I learned from the experts, and I hope that you guys actually really enjoyed these tips on how to use their products. Personally, I really enjoyed the fact that I learned more about my lips, and I know that I'm gonna be doing this more often. But yeah guys, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends that you think would kind of benefit from this. And let me know if you guys kind of enjoy this kind of videos, because in the event I ever get the chance to do this again with like other industry leaders and pioneers, I would love to give you guys more insight, because I find these so useful, not only for you, but also for me to reflect and try it on camera. So in the event that I forget, I can always just come back to this as well. So it's a win-win, okay? But let me know so that I can film more for you guys if the opportunity ever comes up again. And if you want to know more, make sure you leave a comment down below so that I can help you out. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in my next video.